A small number of giant tech companies control a huge part of the market. Should they be broken up? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Let's talk about big tech, especially the big three tech companies that have no meaningful competition in the US. Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Everyone loves complaining about them. Google has been indirectly supporting China's military. Facebook collects an absurd amount of data about users. Just last week, 24 AI researchers called on Amazon to stop selling recognition software to law enforcement. Okay, I love complaining about them, but I'm not alone. In a normal free market, if prices from one store are too high, consumers can buy from a competitor. If workers are underpaid, they can quit and work somewhere else. But when a single company controls the vast majority of the market, they're called a monopoly. And they have the power to artificially control the market by keeping out competitors. They can also make you go to jail without passing go or collecting $200. Here's an example of a monopoly. According to this chart, 94% of all online searches are done on a Google platform, including Google, Google Images, YouTube, and Google Maps. And that means if Google decided one day to remove all search engine results for America Uncovered, this show would be erased from 94% of the internet. I'd be gone from search, and even Google Maps. And no one would even notice, unless they Binged me. And no one uses Microsoft Bing. It's the least popular Bing, after Bing Cherries, Bing Crosby, and Chandler Bing. But monopolies can also do good, like pay people to say that. They can provide services that smaller companies couldn't afford to, like how Google invests billions of dollars to build fiber optic cables that make everyone's internet faster. And how Google provides an entire software suite called Google Docs completely for free, so you don't need to buy Microsoft Office anymore, which is the least popular type of Office, after Office Depot, Office Space, and The Office. And that's why being a monopoly is not illegal. According to a series of US laws from 1890 and 1914, a monopoly becomes illegal if it artificially fixes prices or stops competitors. And so those laws provide a way to break up monopolies into smaller independent companies. These are called antitrust laws. Recently, most of the US Democratic presidential candidates have argued for either tightening regulation on big tech companies or just outright breaking them up, especially Google, Facebook, and Amazon. There are still so many Democrats running. But let's look at the positions of some of the top candidates, starting with Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is leading the charge to break up big tech companies, like an Indian chief out for revenge. What's that, Shelley? Hey, women can be Indian chiefs, like Biawachiachi, warrior and woman chief of the Crow Nation. Look it up, Shelley. Anyway, Elizabeth Warren wants to classify certain tech companies as platform utilities, which would prevent them from participating in their own market. So under her policy, Apple would not be allowed to both run the App Store platform and sell its own apps on it. Warren would also nominate regulators to undo certain mergers she sees as anti-competitive, like Facebook's purchase of Instagram or Amazon's purchase of Whole Foods. Because we can all agree, Alexa gluten-free cookies are going too far. Every time I eat one, I'm afraid it's listening to my stomach rumble. Joe Biden. Joe Biden takes a more moderate stance than Elizabeth Warren in, well, everything. And this is no exception. In May, he told the Associated Press that breaking up large tech companies is something we should take a really hard look at, and that Warren has a very strong case to be made. That sounds like how you agree with something when you want to get credit for it, but don't want to be held responsible if something goes wrong. This is called leadership. Biden is also angry at Facebook, Twitter, and Google, because they refused to take down a Trump ad that his campaign team says makes false claims about his son and Ukraine. I totally get it. We're all a little embarrassed of our children. At least that's what my father told me. Bernie Sanders. Are you ready to feel the burn, big companies?
I think we need vigorous antitrust legislation in this country, because you are seeing, you name the area, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it is Wall Street, whether it is high tech, fewer and fewer gigantic corporations owning those sectors.
Surprise, he managed to slip Wall Street in there too. In 2018, Bernie Sanders introduced the Stop Bad Employers by Zeroing Out Subsidies Act. Get it? The Stop Bezos Act. Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon? The bill would make large corporations either pay their workers higher wages or pay back the government for public benefits that their workers get. So Sanders is not going soft on big tech companies. He also wants to break them up. But first, he has to figure out how to send an email. Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg is more reserved about breaking up big tech. He has not said that any particular big tech company should be broken up, but he has said it's a remedy that should be on the table. On the table, sure, but he doesn't intend to use it. The way someone might put Brussels sprouts on the table, but you're not going to eat it. Buttigieg also says the FTC should have the power to stop anti-competitive mergers, but that big tech companies should be evaluated for their actions, not for how big they are. Yeah, it's not the size, it's how they use their status as a large corporation. The point is, Buttigieg doesn't think big tech should be forced to break up. On an unrelated note, here's a photo of Pete Buttigieg and Mark Zuckerberg. They went to Harvard together. Kamala Harris. Back when Kamala Harris was California Attorney General, she pushed to protect consumer online privacy. For example, she wanted to stop big tech companies from mining personal data from school children. And in 2017, Senator Harris and now fellow candidate Senator Amy Klobuchar introduced a bill to stop online exploitation of people's private images. I mean, no one wants their embarrassing photos posted online, like that time you had to eat pork chops at the Iowa State Fair. Anyway, Harris believes big tech companies aren't properly regulated. She's not calling for an actual breakup of those companies, but she has said that should be on the table, just like Buttigieg. Harris also wants Twitter to suspend President Trump's Twitter account, saying his tweets threaten violence. Twitter did not agree. She says big tech shouldn't profit from hate. That's silly. I believe we should all be able to profit from hate. Amy Klobuchar. As a U.S. Senator, Klobuchar made regulating big tech one of her main issues. She's called for net neutrality and better data privacy laws. Klobuchar also suggested that companies who profit from collecting users' data should be taxed. Taxed extra. Or in the case of Amazon, taxed at least more than zero. Klobuchar has not outright endorsed corporate breakups, but she wants to launch investigations. And she'd pay for those investigations with a new tax on what she calls mega mergers. Mega merger is also the name of the new ride at the Amazon Whole Foods theme park. It's a screamer. Andrew Yang. Yang is a former startup CEO and is not hot on the idea of forcing companies that succeed to break up. Although he has said that the public might be well served if big tech companies were to break themselves up. But that's about as likely to happen as, Congress passing a multi-trillion-dollar spending bill to give Americans each $1,000 a month. Beto O'Rourke. O'Rourke also prefers to regulate big tech, not forcing it to break up. He does want new rules that would prevent online platforms like Amazon from pushing out competitors by promoting their own products. Like, does Amazon really need to produce and sell its own brand of washable glitter glue? The answer is yes. In fact, I've never bought washable glitter glue from any other brand. That is a factually accurate statement. Anyway, what was I saying? All right, Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic Party version of washable glitter glue. He thinks social media companies like Facebook and YouTube should be treated as media publishers, which means they'd be held responsible for everything that's on their sites. He also wants to hold social media companies accountable for the content posted by users if, for example, they post hate speech in the comments section. Yes, nothing screams democracy like letting big tech companies police all of our online comments. Cory Booker. Booker wants tighter scrutiny of big companies in general, but he isn't naming specific companies to break up. In the past, Booker has received donations from big Silicon Valley people like Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg also just happened to donate $100 million to the Newark, New Jersey school system back when Booker was mayor. Here's what Booker told ABC News about breaking up companies.
Do I think it is a massive problem in America, corporate consolidation? Absolutely. It's about making sure that we have a system that works. It's not me and my own personal opinion about going after folks. That sounds more like a Donald Trump thing to say, like, I'm going to break up you guys. No, we need to create systems and processes.
You just compared Elizabeth Warren to Donald Trump.
Ooh, sick burn, ABC reporter Jonathan Karl. Wait, what does Donald Trump think? Donald Trump. Well, President Trump is also interested in the issue. Back in June, he asked the Department of Justice to look into whether big tech companies were too big and too powerful and should potentially be broken up. Hold on, did Trump and the Democrats actually agree on something? Who will MSNBC be mad at now? Seriously though, Trump's concerns might be slightly different from, say, Bernie Sanders. Trump doesn't see big companies as inherently bad. He and other Republicans have just accused Google and Facebook and others of silencing conservative voices. But in the end, Trump and most of the Democrats agree. Big tech companies should at least be investigated for abusing their power. But wait, if they all get broken up, how are they going to silence all those conservative voices? So those are how the top presidential candidates and the president view breaking up big tech. What do you think? Leave your comments below. And remember, the funding for America Uncovered comes mostly from viewer support through the crowdfunding website Patreon. Click the link below to learn how you can help us make even more great episodes. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.